Good evening. You're watching BBC Newsline. The headlines this Friday evening.
A second man from Northern Ireland has been arrested by police investigating the deaths of 39 people found in the back of a lorry here in Essex 3 days ago.
A 48-year-old man from Northern Ireland was arrested at Stansted Airport earlier today on suspicion of conspiracy to traffic people and on suspicion of manslaughter.
A lawyer for children who arrived illegally into Northern Ireland says they were found cold and hungry.
They're tired, they're disorientated, some of them are distressed, but they're coping well under the circumstances.
A court is told this Belfast man murdered his mother after years of being threatened and bullied by her. A woman from Londonderry says she thought masked gunmen were going to kill her family.
I was telling all my children that I loved them all and not to worry, just to be quiet, because they were still at the door and I thought they were going to get in. I thought they were going to kill us.
Also this evening in the programme, we visit the school in County Donegal that's top of the class when it comes to monitoring earthquakes.
Winner takes all in a hockey head-to-head in Vancouver as Ireland and Canada chase a place at next year's Olympic Games.
And today's cold, damp weather is moving away. It'll remain chilly over the weekend, but the brighter skies will be back, and so will I, later in the programme.
First, some breaking news and the arrest of a second man from Northern Ireland in relation to the deaths of the 39 people whose bodies were found in a lorry container in Essex on Wednesday. The 25-year-old lorry driver, who's from County Armagh, is still being questioned. A man and a woman were arrested in Warrington in the northeast of England earlier today. Tracking information on the lorry container has also been revealed. BBC Newsline's Mark Simpson is in Essex for us this evening. Mark.
Donna, this is a very fast-moving investigation, including, as you say, developments within the past 20 minutes or so here at Grays Police Station in Essex. The Deputy Chief Constable, Pippa Mills, gave an update to the media saying that 4 people are now in police custody, including 2 men from Northern Ireland.
I can confirm we have officers working around the clock and we have now arrested a 4th person. A 48-year-old man from Northern Ireland was arrested at Stansted Airport earlier today on suspicion of conspiracy to traffic people and on suspicion of manslaughter. It follows the arrest of a 38-year-old man and a 38-year-old woman from Warrington during warrants executed in Cheshire overnight. They are currently in custody, also on suspicion of conspiracy to traffic people and on suspicion of manslaughter. A 25-year-old man arrested on Wednesday on suspicion of murder remains in custody.
Well, that 25-year-old man, of course, is believed to be Mo Robinson from County Armagh. He was arrested 3 days ago. The police will have to decide within the next 24 hours whether to charge him or release him without charge. As I said at the beginning, this is a very fast-moving investigation, also very wide-ranging, involving police not just here in England, but back in Northern Ireland, obviously, in the Irish Republic, in Belgium, France, Bulgaria, and, of course, in the Far East. I've been here all day. Here is the very latest. One by one, the bodies of the 39 people who died are being taken to a mortuary for post-mortem examinations. Information about how they died and exactly when will be crucial to the police investigation. Although Essex Police said yesterday the 39 victims were all Chinese, some families from Vietnam fear their loved ones may be among the dead. The family of 26-year-old Pham Thi Cha Mi contacted the BBC to say they received a message from her on Tuesday from Europe saying she feared she was going to die as she couldn't breathe. The bodies of the 39 people who died were found in the back of a container in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Today, more details emerged about the container. Its journey began in County Monaghan on Tuesday of last week. It was leased from Global Trailer Rentals and then went across the border into Northern Ireland. Sources say tracking data suggests it later crossed back into the Republic and travelled from Dublin to North Wales, 24 hours after beginning its journey. After travelling down through England, it then went on the Dover to Calais crossing. Once on the European mainland, it appears the container travelled between cities in Belgium and France, including Dunkirk, Bruges and Lille. During the next 5 days, sources say it travelled back and forth on a number of crossings between the UK and mainland Europe. Then on Tuesday this week, it made its final journey from Zeebrugge in Belgium to Purfleet, where the bodies were later discovered. A solicitor for the firm which owns the container says the company was helping the police with their investigation.
We've transferred full data from the tracking system to Essex Police, and they are now in possession of that. It should pinpoint the full movements of the vehicle and any stops made by the vehicle at any particular time.
3 days into this international investigation, the police say they are making progress, but many questions remain still unanswered. Well, Essex Police have just told me they are preparing another update, but it won't be issued tonight. It's likely to be tomorrow morning when we'll hear the latest on their overall global investigation and the latest on those 4 people, including 2 men from Northern Ireland, who tonight remain in police custody. Tana.
Mark Simpson in Essex. An update now on a story we revealed on BBC Newsline yesterday relating to at least 10 children who arrived illegally into Northern Ireland. They had travelled from Eritrea in East Africa unaccompanied by an adult. A lawyer representing the children has told us they were found cold and hungry. BBC Newsline understands some of the children say they came here by hiding in a shipping container. Our health correspondent Mary-Louise Connolly reports.
Around 2 weeks ago, the authorities were alerted that a number of children were in the Harbour Estate area. There was enough information to know they were foreign and possibly had arrived into Northern Ireland illegally.
I understand there was a tremendous sense of urgency as social workers and police searched this area before picking up 10 children, cold, hungry and completely disorientated. Eventually they were able to tell social services they had spent at least 24 hours travelling in a shipping container. However, at this stage, it's not clear whether they got off a ferry here in Belfast or perhaps in Dublin.
And this is the lawyer who's representing some of the teenagers who are now in the care of social services.
They're children, so they're, as you might expect them to be, they're tired, they're disorientated, some of them are distressed, but they're coping well under the circumstances.
The children are all from Eritrea in North East Africa. They travelled to Northern Ireland without an adult. While it's not clear how long these children were on the road, such a trip can take up to 2 years. 2 other young people from the same country arrived here in August.
It is well acknowledged that Eritrea is a place that has grotesque human rights abuse, lifelong conscription. So we would say that all of those young people have a right to asylum, refugee status in the UK, and that they should be granted refugee status. Their rights should be protected.
It's thought that these children boarded a ferry in Belgium. Mary-Louise Connolly, BBC Newsline.
A court has been told a man killed his mother after years of being threatened and bullied by her. Declan O'Neill attacked Anne O'Neill with a chisel at the home of his grandparents in Belfast in October 2017. Declan O'Neill, who worked as a doctor in Belfast, has already pleaded guilty to murder, but today's details were given as a judge considers the nature of his life sentence. Our reporter Declan Harvey was at the court.
Diligent, attentive and caring. That's how colleagues of Dr. Declan O'Neill described him.
He worked for the Belfast Health Trust, reportedly here at Musgrave Park. Patients were said to have been fond of him. He was mild-mannered and courteous. Dr. O'Neill gave no clue as to the lifelong abuse he'd suffered at the hands of his mother. And it was that abuse, a court heard today, that led to murder.
2 years ago this week, he arrived early in the morning at his grandparents' house in South Belfast, where his mother was staying. He attacked and killed her with a chisel he brought with him. She was Anne O'Neill, a 51-year-old retired nurse left physically frail because of an earlier accident.
She was found in a pool of blood in the back garden. It was a brutal attack, the court heard. But it was also said O'Neill and his sister had suffered relentless emotional violence at the hands of their mother, who controlled their daily lives and their finances. They were raised in their mother's home in what the court heard was like almost third world conditions, without a bathroom or basic furniture. They weren't allowed to see their friends as children. The atmosphere was one of intimidation, manipulation, threats, bullying and blackmail. Declan O'Neill lived here with his partner. It's where he was arrested shortly after the murder. In letters to court, his grandparents and his sister said although they can't condone what he's done, they asked for mercy because he had been pushed beyond his limits. His grandmother said that the children had been trapped by their mother. His sister talked about being physically attacked by Anne O'Neill and how years of abuse had had a profound effect on her. As these details were revealed in court, Mr. Justice Colton commented on how Anne O'Neill was probably herself suffering from a lifetime of mental illness. Defence barristers agreed. And all the while, sitting in the court, suited, quivering, Dr. Declan O'Neill in floods of tears.
Medical reports say Declan O'Neill was suffering from a form of depression and anxiety, but it's not clear what made him murder that morning. Next Thursday, he'll be told the conditions of his life sentence. Declan Harvey, BBC Newsline.
A woman whose house was targeted in a shooting has told BBC Newsline that as the attackers stood in the back garden, her family said their last goodbyes to each other. Katie Bowers was inside the Londonderry home with her 5 children when a shot was fired through a bedroom window. She believes the gun attack was a case of mistaken identity. Katie Bowers has been speaking to our Northwest reporter Kieran Turish.
I looked out this window and seen the masked gunman. As I got to about here, he fired the shot in. I gathered my boys, all my children, and got them all into this room here. I put my back to the door, my feet up onto the bunk bed, and at this point we were screaming.
Katie Bowers says she and her family have been left deeply traumatised by the violation of their family home in Shearwater Way. 3 masked men were involved in the attack last Sunday evening around 10 o'clock. She said her children, 3 boys and 2 girls, whose ages ranged from 3 to 13, were hysterical as the gang tried to gain access to the property after firing a shot through her children's bedroom window.
Wayne was holding his baby sister, who was 3, telling her, "I love you. It's okay, Katie. It's okay." Lee was holding his sister Faith, who is only 10, telling her that he loved her. And I was telling all my children that I loved them all and not to worry, just to be quiet, because they were still at the door and I thought they were going to get in. I thought they were going to kill us. I think they're cowards. They're animals. They're not even human. You can't just shoot into a child's bedroom window for no reason.
The 31-year-old mother was also critical of the response time of police. She estimates it took them 26 minutes to get to her home. The police say officers were dispatched as soon as they received the call, and the call handler stayed on the line until they arrived. Katie Bowers believes the attack was a case of mistaken identity, and she had this challenge for the gunman.
Stop hiding behind a mask and a gun and speak up. I'm not hiding behind a mask or a gun. I'm here today and I want you to speak up and tell me why. Why my family, why my home?
The police say this was undoubtedly a traumatic experience for the family. They have appealed to anyone who may have any CCTV or dashcam footage to come forward. Detectives are still trying to establish a motive for the attack. Kieran Turish, BBC Newsline, Derry.
The DUP leader Arlene Foster says her party will consider Boris Johnson's call for a general election at its party conference this weekend. The Prime Minister says he will accept further scrutiny of his Brexit deal at Westminster if MPs agree to a general election on December the 12th. With more, here's our political correspondent Stephen Walker.
Getting ready for her big speech, Arlene Foster addresses the party faithful tomorrow. Unlike last year, Boris Johnson is not the star guest. but his name will hang over proceedings. And this weekend, the DUP must consider his call for a general election.
We have to look at all of that and decide whether it is the right thing to do at this time, because of course this is a deal that has huge implications for Northern Ireland. We're not content with what's there at the moment, and we want to scrutinise what has been brought forward in the legislation, and in order to do that we need time. So we'll have to consider all of that and make our mind up over the weekend as to what we're going to do on Monday.
So Monday becomes decision day at Westminster on whether MPs will back an election. Labour say they will only agree to a December poll if a no deal is off the table. Jeremy Corbyn says the Prime Minister must also recognise that his Brexit deal needs scrutiny and has major faults.
He has got to understand that the protection of jobs and the protection of the Good Friday Agreement and peace process in Northern Ireland are very, very important. His proposals don't do any of that.
But Boris Johnson insists that Jeremy Corbyn is running scared of a December election.
Time for Corbyn. Man up. Let's have an election on December the 12th.
Today, EU ambassadors agreed to delay Brexit, but will make a decision on a new deadline date next week.
That the EU27 have agreed to the principle of an extension, and work will now continue in the coming days. The intention is to take this decision by written procedure.
Many DUP activists will spend this weekend mulling over how this latest Brexit deal has caused a divide between their party and the Conservatives. Some in the DUP once looked at Boris Johnson as their political hero, a great friend of the Union. But you won't hear much adulation this weekend.
What kind of reception would he get if he turned up this year?
Mightn't be as friendly as what it was this time last year.
I feel like many of the other Tory folks over the years, he has let Ulster down.
The DUP meet this weekend under the banner of standing strong for Northern Ireland. But some might feel it's a case of ourselves alone. Stephen Walker, BBC Newsline, Belfast.
Residents in parts of Antrim are angry about a plan to outsource their bin collections to a private firm. If it's approved, Antrim and Newtownabbey Borough will become the first local council with a fully privatised collection service. Michael Fitzpatrick reports.
It's Blue Recycling Bin Day in this part of Antrim, but in the Newtownabbey side of the borough, residents use triple stack sorting boxes, which take extra items like glass and textiles. Two different waste collection systems have been in place in this council area since 2017. Now the council wants to see the changes it introduced in Newtownabbey extended to Antrim, something these residents are against.
The older people is going to find it difficult. People who are disabled, people who have got arthritis and things, people who've got steps to try and bring out. These ones can be difficult enough, but they're straightforward.
Why does it have to be the Newtownabbey's way? Why can't Newtownabbey revert to the blue bins? And I don't mind recycling, but how are they going to recycle what I put in my blue bin into smaller recyclable boxes?
I'm not the best at knowing what to put into which bins. I leave it all to my husband. So maybe this system, because it's 3 different boxes really, might help people like myself.
As well as a move to a triple stack system, ratepayers would also see their black bin replaced with a smaller version. If these proposals from Antrim and Newtownabbey Council are approved, it wouldn't just lead to a change in the type of bins used in this part of the borough. It would mean that for the first time a council in Northern Ireland has decided to outsource all of its waste collection services. The council says the changes would allow it to grant voluntary redundancy to over 20 members of staff who've applied for the scheme, while saving ratepayers £6 million over 10 years, something the trade union NIPSA disputes.
There are councils in the UK and in the south of Ireland currently bringing all of their services back in to the council control, and this is mainly because privatisation of such services as waste collection has proven to be not as financially viable.
I mean, the bottom line is we're replacing a blue bin with a triple stack bin. That's it. That's what's happening. But in doing that, we're able to increase the items that they can recycle, i.e. glass, batteries, textiles, and give a better service because it'll be a weekly collection.
The public consultation on the proposed changes has now ended. A final vote on whether to fully outsource waste services will be taken at the next full council meeting. Michael Fitzpatrick, BBC Newsline, Antrim.
A school in Stranorlar in County Donegal has topped the world for monitoring earthquakes. St Columba's College has recorded more than 1,000 events. It's part of the International Seismology in Schools network, and as Louise Cullen reports, the students and their teachers have recorded some surprising events.
For almost a decade, this seismometer has put Stranorlar on the world map.
We collect data from local events here in Donegal because we get our own locally generated earthquakes, and we record catastrophic events from the other side of the world. And we also record other events, the North Korean nuclear test 2 years ago, or the eruption of a volcano in Iceland. Anything that makes the earth shake, we can record it here if it has a high enough intensity.
The college is part of the 700-strong Seismology in Schools network, as well as contributing to international monitoring bodies, though not every event is due to the earth moving.
The most significant one probably here locally being the one that was a goal scored here in McCool Park during a senior football championship match between Donegal and Tyrone, and we picked up the vibration here at the ground the exact moment the ball went into the net.
Sport aside, Donegal is a hotbed of seismic activity thanks to its geology, and bringing international events closer to home has given the students the seismology bug.
When you're sitting in a classroom, it's just a diagram, but this really connects you to the outside world, and you're like, well, this is real life, this is happening.
It makes it a lot more relevant and makes you think about it a lot more, and even not just earthquakes but all the other natural disasters that come along with them.
We're halfway across the world and we can still see the effects of it happening, so it makes us all seem close together.
It shows that they are making that connection with people who are suffering due to these catastrophes, and so it gives them a sense of their place in the world and how connected we all are.
That report from Louise Cullen. Mark Sidebottom is here with the sports news. And Mark, winner takes all in Vancouver.
Crunch time in Canada, Donna. Good evening, everyone. Ireland's men's hockey team. They play Canada tomorrow and Sunday, 10 p.m. and 9 p.m. our time. Both games, incidentally, streamed live on the BBC Sport NI website. The winner on aggregate will head to the Tokyo Games. The loser is going nowhere. Here's Nigel Ringland.
Reverse shot. Oh, what a shot! And what a goal! What a score from Eugene McGee!
Competing at the Olympics in Rio was a first for Irish hockey. After having a taste of it, they don't want to miss out on the party, and getting to Tokyo is important for a number of reasons.
The game needs it. We need to get to another Olympics. We need to grow the game off the back of it again. Probably grow it more than we did the last time. So there is pressure, but it's international hockey. It's international sport. We need to be able to deal with the pressure from a coaching point of view and playing point of view. There's a massive amount of experience within the group. There's guys who played in the EHL finals and stuff like that. So that's not a concern of mine.
Standing between Ireland and a place at next summer's games are Canada, ranked 3 places higher in the world, and with home advantage, they'll start as favourites.
They've been a group that's been together for a while, so they know each other pretty well. They're a very consistent side, and they've consistently beaten teams ranked below them. However, they're a very beatable team, maybe getting a wee bit older. We've got a lot of youth in our team. They've got home advantage, but there's probably less pressure on us. We can go out there and play with a bit of belief, bit of confidence. There's no doubt we can get the result.
Games don't come much bigger than this weekend, with so much at stake. Which team will handle the pressure best? Nigel Ringland, BBC Newsline.
Boxing in the past hour, the former unified bantamweight world champion Ryan Burnett has announced his retirement from the professional sport. The Belfast fighter has had to deal with injuries sustained during the competition and in training, and has now decided to prioritise his health and bow out of the game. Derry City have a second bite at securing European football next season when they face Finn Harps at the Brandywell this evening. They need at least a point to clinch a place in the Europa League.
No pressure, absolutely no pressure. You know, we came on here, I'll tell you what pressure was at the start of the season when you have 4 players. You're 8 weeks away from the start of the season, that's pressure. But, you know, we're in control. We're in control going on under the game, and, you know, we've got to make sure that we just perform. We've performed all year. We've won more game. It's a Northwest derby. it's an opportunity for our players to sign off in a positive frame of mind. You know, we've been fantastic all season, and we just want to now put on one big push, and if we can do that, I'm sure that we'll have a positive result.
And the game live on BBC Radio Foyle. In the Danske Bank Premiership, tomorrow leaders Coleraine host champions Linfield. Oran Kearney's side beat the Blues back in August, but are expecting a tough contest tomorrow.
Because they're a few games behind everybody else, they're ticking away on notice there. But their form has been super since probably the last time that we played them. So these are the games you want to be about the Irish League football for, and you know, the big games and the big atmosphere, and hopefully we can go and get another big performance.
And Sloughdale beat Middleton, and Dunloy take on Ballycran in Sunday's Ulster Club hurling final doubleheader. Our cameras will be there with highlights available on our BBC Sport NI website. And just to quickly add, world champion Jonathan Ray has just won race 1 in Qatar. That's in the final round on it of the World Superbikes.
Yes, he's always in good form. Thanks, Mark. Cecilia Daly is here with the weekend weather forecast. So how is it looking, Cecilia?
Not as cold as it was today, Donna. It was really chilly today. And if you're heading to the rugby this evening for the Ulster match, it'll be chilly and damp. Temperatures today were more typical of December. And there was certainly a real proper frost in many places this morning as temperatures fell to -4 degrees in parts of County Down. Now, it will be cold tonight again and chilly through the weekend, but not as cold as that. And we'll see a lot of dry weather and brighter skies as well, which means it will look a lot nicer. If you're out and about watching fireworks, though, you will need to layer up because it will be chilly. So tonight the rain's gradually clearing away from the southeast. There'll be 1 or 2 showers following, but many places will end up with a dry night, clearing skies. Temperatures dropping, yes, but not just as low as last night. But there could be a touch of frost tomorrow morning, but there will also be some lovely sunshine to look at, and most of the morning will be dry. It'll be chilly in the breeze, and the breeze will carry a few showers from west to east, particularly in the afternoon. So you'll probably catch 1 or 2 showers, but otherwise a lot of dry weather. Temperatures, though, as you can see, again struggling, still in single figures. Tomorrow evening, if you're heading out to watch fireworks, there will be some showers around again. And of course, Saturday night into Sunday morning, don't forget the clocks go back an hour. That may mean an extra hour in bed, and it should mean that it seems a lot brighter on Sunday morning, but it will also get darker much quicker. Sunset there is at around 5 o'clock, but at least temperatures are on the rise on Sunday. It'll be a lovely crisp day and great running weather for those who are heading to Dublin for the marathon. Now, of course, next week is mid-term, and it looks as though that crisp sunshine will continue at least for the first couple of days of next week. So if you've got something to do next week, some dry weather to come on the lead up to Halloween night.
And that's it for now. Our late news is at 10:25. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.